Call the meeting of the Ramsey County Commission to order. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First order of business is approval of the minutes.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Next item is approval of the bills. Andy, anything unusual on that?
We'll do it. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the bills. Any further discussion?
There's a few on the highway list, we'll do a motion for
Let's go. Okay, roll call.
Brown,
Aye.
Holt,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Britt,
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye. Next item is financial reports.
I vote to approve as submitted.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the financial reports. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Treasurer's checks. Motion and a second to approve the treasurer's checks. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Move on to approval of the agenda. Do we need to make any additions or corrections to the agenda?
I'd like to add Sheriff Nelson on, cost for some computer equipment.
Okay, can we put that under new business, or would you prefer it?
Either way, it's fine.
Okay. We'll put that under new business then. Any other additions or corrections?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the amended agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Ramsey County Fair Board, in strength ND.
Is Megan on?
Lindsay is, not Megan.
Megan.
Should we come back to you? We're a few minutes early, so.
Yeah, I'm wondering, Dennis Gleason was going to be here also, so maybe
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Okay.
15.
But she's in the lobby.
Then if that's all right, we'll just come back to you guys.
That sounds great.
Perfect. Then let's go to Susie.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today. I apologize, I meant to get here in February, but my schedules for Tuesdays just got a little hectic, so I'm here today. But I did present you guys a packet of our information for our fiscal year, which was October through September of the previous year. I'm not going to go over everything, but if you have any questions, please let me know. One thing I do want to point out for our 2021 tax collections, our fiscal year for the city collections were up over $42,000 compared to the previous year in 2020. So I have to give a lot of credit to all of our tourism entities and businesses in the Lake region. We became a kind of a destination over COVID for a great place for families or people to come as a destination that they felt safe and were still able to take in their travels and their fishing and what have you. So it really sustained us over the last couple of years. Our fiscal year for tax collections for the county showed at $88,506. So we didn't know coming into the county lodging and restaurant tax where we were going to be at for the year. So I was pleasantly surprised with where those tax collections are coming in to really help us out with our marketing efforts. We hit over 2 million views on our Google photo submissions. And what that means is we've been working with a photographer and a videographer the last few years to collect various photos and videos throughout the Lake region. Kind of on a yearly basis. They come 2, maybe 3 times a year for different activities and functions. And so we've been sharing those across the platform with all of our partners. And so, for instance, the Lake Region Heritage Center, when we go in and do some photos for them, we'll go in and share those on their Google page. So when people go and search either Devil's Lake or Lake Region Heritage Center or any other restaurants, those photos will pop up and appear. So that's where those 2 million views are coming in. We should hit more here soon, as I will be putting in about a year's worth of photography that I need to catch up on for all of our businesses. We've hosted some small media events throughout this previous year, and we were able to hit the Bismarck and Fargo sport shows last year, and this year we were able to head over to Madison, and we did Minot and also the St. Paul Ice Fishing Show. So we're back on track a little bit as far as those travel shows go. We will be watching those closely as the attendance seems to be dropping on those, so we'll probably rethink some strategies here for next year. We did print the visitor guide for 2021. We had about 17,000 copies still from the previous year for those, and so we tried to be a little bit more strategic and be more wise with our money, and so we updated the visitor guide online for our online version and then just handed out the old versions for the visitor guide. But we did print new for this year for 2022, and that's in your packet as well. But we have been seeing a trend where more people are downloading the visitor guide online anyway versus either requesting one or taking one in hand. So we didn't think it was that big of a deal. We produced some itinerary videos that we are working on, and you'll find those on our website under things to do. There's 4 different itinerary videos that we're using to highlight, and we're just pushing those out now. They're family activities, history, couples night out, and a couple other things. We'll have a winter one coming up, and then they're also going to produce with all the content a living in Devil's Lake one to kind of highlight living here and trying to get those people here relocating. And speaking of that, this summer, we're going to work on a new relocation packet that will tie in well with our visitor packet and visitor guide to try and help with those relocating and moving into our area. The trends on our website continue to view more towards the mobile-friendly users on our website. This year we trended at 49% of our website users are mobile traffic, which just goes to show us that people are either using their phones more while they're sitting at home, or they're utilizing our website more while they're here, more boots on the ground. So we've really tried to play up more content as far as what's happening now. So we're utilizing a blog writer to showcase just some different things in the area and giving people more of an idea of things to do while they're here, which is why we've really been pushing the community event calendar out to the public to try and get them to utilize that. We also had over 366,000 page views on our website. So that's another part of the traffic that we look at and grow. Media has gotten really tricky. There's so many different places you can dabble in and places you need to be these days. You know, when I first started this job 12 years ago, really it was all about TV and print. And so now it's everything. It's TV, it's print, it's digital, it's connected TV, which isn't just cable TV, but it's cable for people that are on like Hulu or Netflix or things like that. So we've really tried to be a little bit more strategic with those marketing efforts, and I have that mixed for you on starting on page 20, so you can just see where our marketing dollars are going to and where we're tracking and where we're trending. We've had some pretty cool people here in town. We had Meat Eaters, which is a Netflix show that came out this winter to do some filming. I don't know when that's going to air, but they have millions of viewers, and they really take the show to a different level. It's not just about hunting, it's not just about fishing, but they come in and kind of talk about the hunt or the kill, so to say. But then they take it and they use all of the meat that they've harvested and show some different cool cooking techniques and things like that. So I'm assuming that'll air sometime next fall. We've worked with Field and Stream. He was going to come here with boots on the ground, but we just worked with him virtually, so something will be airing there. And then we had Cabela's Bass Pro Shops here this winter. Through the Cabela's credit card holders, they're able to book trips through their credit card, and this was the first ice fishing destination that they decided to do, and they picked Devil's Lake, and so it was kind of cool to be a part of that. People basically bought a whole trip, including all their gear, and I think half of them rebooked to come back on their own again, so that was another kind of cool thing. And then our visitor committee is working through our next 3-year strategic plan. We had one through 2022, so now we'll work on our strategic plan for 23 through 26. And then lastly, really quick, I did put a chart packet of information for you. We signed on with a company this past year called Datify, which gives us a little bit of research and a little bit of data. To date, all we've really been working on is, or working from, is all the website traffic that we see. We can see, you know, where people are coming in and viewing everything on our website, but we really didn't know if those numbers were true and if those people were coming. So this company breaks down a sampling of GPS data of people that are here, as well as credit card spending. And so I'm not going to go over all of this. Like I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. But just so you know what you're looking at, this first page, it breaks down visitation by in-state visitors and out-of-state visitors. So 2022 will look a little low because even though it says that it's an annual report, that's really year-to-date since we're just in 2022 now. But the trends for 2021 through 2018 are on here as far as our visitor traffic. The numbers are going to look skewed. I just want everybody to know that going into it. It's all GPS geofenced in the area, and some of it is overlapping. So we've geofenced the lake, for instance, but some of the resorts might be tailored around the lake, and we've got the city GPS, but there's some different hotels that are in the city limits and things like that. So the numbers will look slightly skewed and a little bit larger than they really are because some of those people might be counted twice, but we really use it as an overall scale to see where we're at and how we're doing from year to year. Another one I want to just quickly point out is we also track our traffic and our trends. So we've got our daily visitors spend by year, and so we really traffic that and highlighted to see how our trends are going. And you'll see a dip in 2021 slightly, but I think that has to do more so with COVID. And then lastly, towards the back, just some things that we've been doing as far as our spend goes and our traffic here. We worked with the fire department to get them some rough estimates as far as the economic impact goes for the ice fishing tournament. So we were able to break down those 3 days in January for 2019 through 2021. Can't seem to find it in the packet here. But it showed what the economic impact was. It was canceled last year because of ice conditions, but really it shows, and it's just visitors that are over 50 miles or more, so it's not taking account those coming over from Dakota, can do things like that, but it's over $1 million of economic impact just for those 3 days, not having to do with any of the ticket sales or anything like that, but just the visitors coming into the area and spending money. So as soon as we have that spending data for 2022, we'll add that into the mix as well. And another thing that we were able to do was work with the park board and the Fort Totten Little Theater. They're trying to solicit some grant funding, or they did solicit some grant funding for the new building that they want to put up. So we were able to pull some GPS data as far as the traffic goes in Roosevelt Park for the month of July. And granted, there's a couple other events like Rip Fest that have grown as well in that month. But we were able to establish that since the Fort Totten Little Theater has moved into Roosevelt Park, the traffic has quadrupled in the park for the month of July, which has a lot to do with Fort Totten Little Theater. So just some of the ways that we're helping some of our entities in the region to garner some of those grants and stuff. So I don't want to bore you if you go on with statistics, but if you have any questions on anything, please let me know, please ask.
Things are going well now.
They are going well, yeah. Yeah, like I said, we have a natural destination as far as our hunting and fishing goes, and really as the state was declining for a couple of years because of sports not taking place and meetings not taking place, we were able to stabilize and thrive a little bit here, which was nice for our economy.
I don't see anybody hunting snow geese this spring.
I saw some yesterday.
Did you?
Yep.
I've seen a couple of trucks, but that's about it. All right.
Anything else for Susie? Thank you so much, very
Thank you.
informative.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, very good report, thank you.
Okay, is the fair board ready to discuss?
She's on.
How do you, does she come up on the screen?
She should be able to hear us
Can she talk to us?
if she unmutes herself.
There we go.
You might want to talk to her.
Yep. Megan?
Hi, this is Megan. I'm here.
Okay, great. We'll get started. Elvina Evans Center was going to lead us today.
The Fair Board is here today to give you an update on what we've been working on. Our vision is to build a building out at the fairgrounds. And that building would be 150 by 250. It would be a building that would be utilized for many different things in the community. It would be 4-H, archery, livestock shows, horse shows, other events like that. We've done a lot of thinking about this, and Megan has put together a list of different things that could work in the building and grow activities for the Fair Board and for the community out there. This would actually be phase 2 of the Fair Board's planning for the fairgrounds. We started out with the building that we have out there about 15 years ago and got a loan and got that building going, and now we realize that that building is not big enough for all the activities that want to happen out there. So we're looking at phase 2, which is this new building that we're building, and there possibly could be endless activities as far as youth activities, different horse-related activities, livestock shows out there, youth shows. And one of the big things is the archery program. Right now, their space that they have that they can practice in is very small, so that would be a plus for them to be able to use a bigger building for their shooting practice and things. So, Megan, I'll let you give the details of this.
Sure. So you all should have in front of you a document that's basically just a project summary of what the Ramsey County Fair Foundation would like to see or would propose as a multi-purpose event center. So when we're looking at a facility like this, it is something that could impact multiple facets of the community, whether it be supporting locals with the activities that are already being undertaken, horse shows or wrestling practice or archery. It could also be used for different economic development purposes, whether it be supporting the local visitors bureau with as a site to host different events. It's a space that it seems there's a large need for it, both through some qualitative data that has been collected as well as some quantitative data. And thinking just some considerations moving forward with the facility is there still needs to be some additional conversations around staffing and how rentals would exactly, the process for the rentals and how they would exactly take place. But it does seem to be something that has a high potential for the community. It would be kind of a nonprofit with an earned revenue model. And it seems like something that could really boost activities here in the region.
In the packet, there's 3 pages of potential events that we've come up with that we think we could host at a building like this. The biggest being the 4-H activity that takes place out there. At the present time, we have to rent storage space to house the pens and things that we use for 4-H. With this building, we'd be able to have a space in there that would take care of that. There's endless things that could be done in the building. I guess the only limitations would be our imagination on things that we could host there. And there is a lot of requests for different things out there all the time, so I think it would be a good investment for the community. And this isn't something that we just thought of overnight. We've had a lot of years of planning for this. We probably have talked about this and talked about how to get this to happen for about the last 10 years and have tried to look at different areas that we could get funding for it, and that's why we partnered with Strength in North Dakota and Megan, so we would have the expertise of that to be able to go forward with the project. We would like the support of the county commission.
Do you have a specific ask? I mean, like in terms of dollar amount?
Dennis Gleason gave us a projected turnkey building would be $2.3 million to build it.
Okay.
We were looking at just getting the shell of the building up, and then going forward, we would make the other adjustments and improvements to it.
You're gonna insulate the building?
We would have to insulate the building because we would want to have winter activities in there. It's basically our summers in North Dakota are 3 months, and then the weather starts getting nasty and we can't do things. So.
Do you have a 501c number, nonprofit number? Do you have one of them that the
Yes.
fair board can do?
The Ramsey County Fair Foundation does.
Okay.
A lot of the grants that are available wouldn't be available if we didn't have that established.
So has Megan been working as far as grants?
Yes, she's looking into the Otto Bremer Foundation grant right now, and she's told us that we fit into that, what they require to get a grant. What we're trying to do here with the community building, and it's going to support youth and other things in the community.
So with her working on the grant, she just hasn't been able to come up with a number because it's one of those, we want to make sure that we get buy-in on this first.
I think it's quite a process to go through. There's several steps that you go through to work into the grant process. And Otto Bremer has committees that review each phase of the grant application, and then we move on from there.
If you had the dollar, how soon could the project be started, and do you have a start or a completion date that you'd be looking at?
Well, if we had the dollars, we would try to get it started this spring.
Okay.
And Gleason had the room to fit you in on this, right?
I think he does. Any other questions from anyone?
What other avenues do you have to raise money?
We're going to do a drive where we're going to send out letters to the past 4-H alumni and ask them for support for that. And then we will probably also ask businesses to support.
And then that's where that foundation comes into effect, so they can get a deduction.
Correct.
Excuse me, how much money does the Fair Board Foundation have in it currently that could be put towards the project, just out of curiosity's sake?
I think around $61,000.
So you have a little bit of a start then, not huge, but. And the other question I would have is what, we rent the tents and everything every year, what kind of costs are involved with that?
Renting the tents is quite expensive. It's been like over $2,400, and when we've had 2 big tents, it was close to $5,000.
With a setup fee of $1,000. The only reason I know that's because the wrestling club set them up and took them down.
Last year it was right around $6,000.
Okay.
Is there more than one grant that you're going after?
Yes.
Is she favorable that there'll be more than the one you're looking at with Bremer?
Yes.
Megan, are you able to hear the questions in regard to what you're finding for information about grants that are available? And how?
Yeah. So thinking through the kind of the grant-making geography that we're in, there are some limitations because of the type of project that it is a capital project, that it is something more on the community development side, but there are a few potential opportunities. I do think it would be difficult to get the project 100% funded through charitable grants. So I think in the Ramsey County Fair Board is already being proactive in looking at raising individual dollars or dollars from individuals. But I do think there might be opportunities through USDA Rural Development if they bring a few programs back. It might fall under the Community Facilities Fund grant and loan program. I still need to do a little bit more research, but it definitely fits Otto Bremer Trust. And we're trying to look for other grant programs that have this type of focus and allow for capital.
So with the grants that you have looked into, like with probably other things that you have done over the years, what kind of funding have you found for other foundations as far as monies? Like just a rough estimate, I'm not gonna hold you to anything, but what kind of estimate?
In total grants for other organizations that we found, it's probably in excess of $5 million.
Okay, but I'm talking like grants, like projects for like this. Are we looking at 500,000, $1 million? What do you think is a possibility?
Oh, the possibility specifically for this project, I think if we were able to get $250,000 or $300,000 from grants for this project, I think we would be doing pretty well. Again, because of the kind of geography, a lot of grant makers fund in a particular region, and there's just not a ton that specifically cover Ramsey County. I think a doable goal for this specific project when it comes to charitable grants would be $250,000, $300,000. I think that would be a reasonable goal.
Okay, thank you.
What other avenues do you know of, Megan?
For funds for these types of projects, obviously government investment. I know there are quite a few communities that are looking at the ARPA dollars and how those might be spent to maximize benefits or to maximize facilities in communities. So that's something that I know that could or should be looked at. I think the individual giving side, the letter out to all of the 4-H or past 4-H members is a really good start. With any capital campaign, it's going to rely on a few individuals or a few places giving large amounts of money, and then a lot of other individuals and organizations giving just a little bit of money. So if we can secure, 4, 5, 6 large gifts that can get the project rolling, it should be something that is very doable, very achievable.
Do you have any idea on annual operation maintenance of the building, and do we have enough events that could potentially cover that cost to maintain the building?
We are projecting that we will have enough events that it should take care of the monthly expenses and upkeep on the building with the events that we think we can have in the building.
Are we on NODAC out there or Otter Tail, anybody know?
No doubt.
Or NODAC? Okay. I think it'd be a good idea for the fair board to look at NODAC or ask them, what the projected cost is on the lights. Keep the lights on and keep it warm. I think we're gonna use electric heat, is that heat source? That your plan?
MDU, propane, MDU.
We've had some discussion about getting MDU out there
Okay,
to heat the building because propane would be really expensive.
how far away is MDU, anybody know?
Across the road.
Across the road? No? God knows.
South side of that, 19.
Yep. Last time I got a quote, it was roughly $20,000 to put MDU in there. But that was for the small building. If you had a larger facility,
This is gonna be pretty large.
yep, the larger the facility, the larger the furnace was what drops the cost.
We'll have to put a big board up on the wall if we want.
You could put your name on that civic building. How about they give us the money and we'll let it serve?
I mean,
Either way.
I never pursued it as, when it was gonna be a large community, project like this.
Right.
If there was any grant that they could get.
Right. Well, I think that's a couple things we should definitely look into,
Yeah, we have a lot of things that we need to discuss along the way, and I'm sure that as we go, the plan will change a little bit, get molded into exactly what we want to have out there before.
Well, I personally think putting some of the ARPA money in this project is very beneficial to the community, very beneficial. Ramsey County has never had their own fair board building, never had.
Yeah.
You go to any other county in the surrounding area and they have one, whether it's big, small, or whatever it is, but they have their own fair building.
There's a lot of communities that are a lot smaller than Ramsey County that have pretty impressive things.
Well, to Underwood, to their fair, holy smokes, unbelievable how many people are around there. It's an assortment of buildings, old, new, everything.
I think the community benefits and the potential of this building are enormous. I think it's something that's greatly needed within our community, and I think Commissioner Brown's exactly right. I think it'd be a good expenditure of some of our ARPA funds for this project. Obviously we don't have enough to completely fully fund the thing, and that's where the fair board would have to come into play for whether it be seeking grants or financing for the remainder of it. And but I think that we'd be open up to supporting this at certainly some level.
Yeah,
I think as a fair board, we should push forward as far as seeing what kind of support we get from the community, what kind of funds we get from the community, see where this grant goes with Megan, and move on from there,
And Megan, is there any restrictions to any of the grants that if we have something in place that would disqualify the foundation from receiving a grant? I think that's one of the things that we ran into on the previous building when we were seeking an auto-bremer grant was we already had some work completed.
We had funding in place for it, and then we were disqualified from getting the grant because of that.
I can't think of any restrictions or anything that might compromise funding right off the top of my head. The Itinerary Trust has changed the way that they have done their grant making in the last 12 to 18 months, where you have to have a conversation first with a program officer, kind of give them a little bit of a rundown of what you're hoping to see or what you're hoping to achieve, and then they give you somewhat of a go or no go. So when we have that conversation, we'll have a lot more information to bring back as far as the likelihood of funding or whether they might look upon this favorably. I think if we lean into their pillar of community building, and their first pillar of community building and their second pillar of healthy and vibrant citizens, that we can definitely make a really strong case. And certainly they're a foundation that if there's commitment from the community to support the particular project, they're more likely to jump in, which is why it's so great that the Fair Foundation is already looking at those individual gifts and potentially ARPA dollars.
So Megan, do you have any other suggestions that the Fair Board should proceed with, other than what we have said, to try to get funding?
I think we can look, as we dive more deeply into the business plan side of it, and we look at specifically what type of events, not that we don't already have a comprehensive list, but what type of equipment is needed for what type of events. I can think about equine therapy. If we find a provider and we're able to say, gosh, we need X, Y, and Z to outfit the building for equine therapy, then we can look more specifically at funders who fund that particular niche at that kind of price point. So the more information we get, the little bit farther down the line we go. We should be able to find more dollars, but they'll likely be those smaller grant dollars. So there's definitely potential as we pull together more information.
Thank you.
Some of the potential events that you have listed in the presentation or the packet would be spectator type of events. Is there enough room within the building for spectators?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
That 150 by 250 is a pretty big building, so it should be adequate space. That was gonna be one of my questions, is say we, you know, you go out, we get a grant, we do the fundraising, and we still aren't gonna get to $2.3 million, but say we could get to 1.75 or something. Is 150 by 250, is that the set structure size we have to do? Is there up or down, or it'll be down in that situation where you can make the building smaller, just out of curiosity's sake? I know this is what we want, but just like everything, once and aren't always what you get.
We need the width of it,
You need the width, okay.
yeah. Pretty much to do some of the 4-H events that we have to do, like to set a pole pattern would be 21 feet times 8, whatever that would come out to be.
So, yeah, we need the 150. Okay, question answered. So this is what we have to shoot for then. So let's go fundraise.
Well, the thing that we found with the building that is out there already, we went around and around about the size that we were gonna build that building. And we were conservative and we went for smaller rather than bigger. And now, I don't know how many times we've heard over the years, well, if this building was just a little bit bigger, just a little bit bigger, then there would be more opportunities to have different things. So I think
And that building's been completely funded through the Fair Board, and you're financing through, the mortgage that you have and the mill levy that you receive from the county.
Yes, it has been.
And there's, what, 2 years left on that?
Yes,
I believe
that's what we've had talked
Yeah,
I thought it was a 24 maturity.
yeah, it is, it matures in 24.
So what portion of the mill levy goes to paying for the building right now? How much is the payment every
The
year?
payment's $20,000 a year, but we've been able to pay more
Okay.
in different years, just if we can have other projects.
I'm just wrapping my head around the concept of, if, you're projecting that you're gonna have enough, events in this building to pay for operations and maintenance, but some of that month, the mill levy dollars will be freed up once that building is paid for, that you'll have some wiggle room to be able to pay for it on that too, so.
Yeah.
And then this building is attached to the old building, so it's not like we wouldn't be able to, like if there was a wedding event, because sometimes I know the old building is too small, but even if there was something where they could pull a petition like they do in the gyms now, where it's just, you pull it across, where it doesn't take up any space. Granted, I know that's cost money, but that's the things that, like Megan said, that we have to have in.
In the plan.
Just so that if you're renting it out, you don't have to rent out 150 by 200, you can pull a petition quarter way across, and now this is what your cost is for renting this. Things like that. We had talked about that.
This is a much smaller question, but with a 38,000 square foot building, you could have a lot of spectators in there. Do you feel that bathrooms that, exist for four men and 4 women are enough? Is that a significant enough bathroom facilities for that number of potential people?
They have the existing in there already too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Up front, there's 3 and 3. I believe that's why Gleason has it like it is, because there is already existing and it's tied together. Yeah, because I had asked him that question.
If anyone's been to Bowman, North Dakota, they have a building very similar to this. This is somewhat based off of, and they hold facility, or huge events.
Who has that then?
It's a county building, I believe, or it's
County,
in there,
county?
yeah, it's at their fairgrounds there.
one side of the building has bleachers on it, on a cement slab. The bleachers are the kind that push back and,
Like the high school has.
yeah.
Yeah, if we go bleachers, I'd definitely look into that.
Well, and I think eventually
Easier to clean
we
up.
would look to be putting bleachers in there for different events that would be hosted in there. Because you need to have a place for spectators to be.
And as Megan said, depending on the events, that's how she can put out there for grants.
Correct.
I also feel somewhat that if we were able to get the shell up and get it started, as people come to the community and start using it, they're gonna wanna find ways to finish it and help do that.
It'll grow.
Mhm.
We found that with our existing building, we weren't sure if we would have more than just 4-H activity there, but we found that a lot of people rent it for different things. I mean, we've even had funerals out there, this Gilbertsons rents it for that, and they do that, but family reunions, motorcycle gatherings out there.
This 2.3 million, that's including the place to be concreted, right? Just tracking. That's huge. I imagine that's 80% of the cost.
Everything has gone up in price.
Janice is pretty solid on this. Lisa? I mean, he's pretty comfortable with the figures and everything.
Beth, you've been talking to him?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be here today. What he sent, what he gave me yesterday, he said was basically turnkey. He did put a little extra in it in case of some price raising, something rate went up. And that was, we talked very briefly because I thought he was going to be here. I think when we originally spoke with him at our meeting in person before going all the way through it. We had a little bit lower number in mind because we were just thinking, let's get the shell up and get this started and then see. Because with that too, once you start using it, maybe we want things arranged differently or we come up with a little better plan on how to finish it. And at that time, it was a lower dollar amount needed.
In all reality, I'm pretty impressed with the figure you have here. I didn't think you'd get it off the ground that way. I mean, I just.
He also had said
Not anymore.
if we don't insulate it right away, it is not as cost effective.
He did mention too, the insulation he put in this bid was pretty good. I mean, it was better than, it wasn't the minimal.
No, he'll do it right.
One thing too, I think with this type of building, you know, electrical and that type of thing is typically ran through conduit and that, so it can always be added. If it's not adequate, you can add it. It's not like a house where it's in the walls.
Well, I think the proposal looks good. I mean, I really do. I think you're on the right road. I'll make the motion, we support it as a commission. I don't think we need to put a dollar figure on it yet, but I think these people are looking for our support, so we need to show that.
I'm in full support of it also. I'd second that.
Would that be sufficient to get things moving in the right direction, do you think, or would you like dollar amounts committed?
Megan, do you think, is there any reason that we would need to be able to say we have this amount in order to receive potentially more grants, or?
I do know that one of the main questions that you always go through with an Auto Burma Trust site visit is how much money have you raised so far? Because sometimes foundations, especially when it comes to capital projects, because you know communities might not reach their goal or they might not come to fruition, they always ask how much money have you raised so far as an indication of that community support. So I do think it is something, you know, having that commitment of funding that would be beneficial when completing grant applications. So yes, I do think it would be beneficial, but I don't want to push or persuade anyone today as well, but it would be beneficial.
So in our regards though, would it be beneficial for us to know how much they can put up on the table before we send them out? Don't you think? I mean, it'd be nice to know what we could raise so that we don't short it either.
Yeah.
Let's say tomorrow you come up with 1.6 million, you know, and all of a sudden we say, well, we're gonna give you 500,000, then you're short, you know? Are we better off to see what we can come up through the community? I mean, it'd have to be a quick turnaround, you know? So that we don't short the fair board, or what do you guys think?
Well, I think,
One way to look at it is, the fair board is under the county,
Right.
you know, so we cover it. You know, we give them our support, and I hope Megan's, you know, understanding this, that once the government puts their, you know, their will behind the project, you know, they're on hook for it. I'd like to see a lot more money raised, yes, absolutely. We could take all our ARPA money, we still wouldn't have enough.
Right.
I mean, there's other places we should put some of that ARPA money too, where we're gonna go back and have to hit the taxpayers to pay for radios and some other things that we've talked about. But they're a 501c, I don't see a problem giving them, you know, I don't wanna say the figure, but I feel we have to agree on it. But I think as far as getting grants from other entities, you know, our private sectors with the government behind it, I don't think you'll have any problem that way. Because Ramsey County's on the hook if we put our name on it, so.
Megan, can I ask a question of, are the Otto Bremer grants or any of the grants that you're looking at, do they have deadlines, or are they like rolling application dates, or how exactly do those function, so we would have an idea of, you know, when we're looking at getting some grant dollars possibly, or knowing what the funding is?
So Otto Bremer Trust, they do have, I believe, 5 deadlines per year, and there should be one coming up either the end of April or the end of May. And if you allow me just 2 minutes here. Alrighty, we've got one coming up on April 14th that we could definitely submit for, or the next application deadline would be June 16th. If we applied for the April 14th deadline, we would have a decision by July 27th. If we applied by the June 16th deadline, we would have a decision by September 28th. So those would be the 2 deadlines that we would be hoping to target with this particular application. When it comes to other grants like USDA Rural Development, I need to go back to my records and do a little bit more digging and make sure that we hit all of the criteria. But Otto Bremer Trust, we've got one coming up in a couple weeks and one coming up in 2 months.
Okay, thank you.
We wanna break ground this year,
I just,
that don't
yeah,
tell us much.
yeah.
Well, 27th of July for determination on the first application. That starts putting things way late.
Yeah, I think we're either looking at either something really late fall where you can get going on it, maybe shell it, or you're talking probably next construction season. Because by the time, because you guys aren't gonna be able to give Gleason a firm until you know you got the funding in place. And you're not gonna know that if we're relying on possible grant funding coming through.
And we should know from Gleason if the grant money was to come through in September, is it something that he can,
Yeah.
is it something that he can do too? You know, I don't know what the time frame of putting something like this up. You know, I don't know what kind of crew he has. I mean, is it a 30-day project, is it a 60-day project, you know? Maybe it's something that he can do in 30 days, but that's something that we would have to have him involved in. I would hate to push this so fast and then we not receive as much grant money as possible. I mean, don't you guys agree?
Yeah.
And not say, I'm 100% supportive of it. I just don't want to fall short and now we have to downsize the building 100 to 100, and that's not what we're shooting for. We're shooting for this building so that we can maximize the events that we want to do.
I don't think that would meet the needs.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. We want to maximize every bit of money as possible.
Right.
You know, is it something that we're gonna have to use ARPA money, and then something like he had said before we did with the library where they borrowed money, and, you know, and that's something as a fair board, we're gonna have to decide that also. You know, how far do you wanna stick your neck out if we can't raise a certain amount of dollars?
Search and rescue, that's how we built the whole building.
Search and rescue.
Borrowed the money.
Yeah, we borrowed the money and
Took
just.
it out of the general and paid back. The county has the building, we'll borrow the money if you want. That option is there. But grants are much better.
I know I can't talk for everybody sitting here, but I think
Grants are-
there's pretty much the support for it. I see a lot of head nodding.
Yeah. I like the concept, it's just a matter of figuring out exactly what we can get from, you know, private entities through fundraising, and then what we can get through grant funding, and, you know, once we will have a little clearer picture, you know, in a month or two, hopefully, you know, put together a plan on, you know, maybe there's, you know, different levels of giving or whatever like that, more of a solid plan that way, and we can maybe figure out, okay, we want $300,000 in grants, and we're hoping to raise $500,000 from the community, and then we know what we've got left that we've got to figure out how to fund. Whether it's through a mix of ARPA dollars and, you know, just putting it on the general every year off the loan or something like that. I mean, I know you guys want to get it done as quick as possible, but at the same time, I think we have to have a timeline that's gonna work, you know, from the standpoint, I mean, because we've gone 15 years without one now, so if we have to wait till next construction, next spring or whatever, you know, to make sure we do it right, I think that's, you know.
Let's hear from the group on how do you think the fundraising will go? I know there's other projects in the city going on because
Yeah. I think our 4-H alumni are gonna support this project. And we plan on asking businesses also to support it. And I think that because of the range of people that we're gonna affect with this building, I think we'll have good community support.
Are you more likely to get, support, through fundraising activities if you have a commitment dollar-wise? You know, if we had a base that you're gonna get from, know that you're gonna get from the Ramsey County, would that make fundraising easier? That this project, we're committed to this project moving forward and Ramsey County's committed X number of dollars.
I think it would, because it would show the community that the commissioners are supporting our activities, and that always helps to get fundraising going.
We have a motion and a second right now to just simply issue a statement of support without a dollar amount. Is that something that you'd like to amend, Commissioner Brown?
one more thing to say, nobody brought it up yet. We had 600 4-H projects go to the state fair last year. 600. I don't want to mock anybody, but there was a neighboring county that had 26. 4-H is very, very strong in our community, very strong. We have some excellent, excellent leaders that are volunteering their time. I mean, if you want to warm up a presentation to a bank, an individual, a business, I think I'd start off with that. I don't tell you how to say it, but you'll talk better than me anyway. I'm just amazed at all the things, projects that go up there from this county to the state fair. I've been there numerous times over the years, and I was up there twice last year, and anxious to go every time. It's kind of tough to get home some nights, but I seem to make it as ours. But it's an excellent learning device for those kids. It's just excellent. I mean, 600 projects, that's a lot. And put a few dollars in a building for them to have their fair, and bring in neighboring counties to have more fairs if you want. And it's just excellent, you know. I see horse riders up there, I see all kinds of things. I'll amend my motion to put $1 million on it. Can I get a second for that?
I would second that. Absolutely, yeah.
And just as a point of clarification, would that $1 million be designated from ARPA money?
ARPA money, yeah.
So that's half of the ARPA funds. Yeah, slightly less. Because I think we have 2.2.
We have an ARPA committee for that.
We do.
We've been considered by the committee.
Does that
There was not enough.
give you a head start on fundraising?
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
It will?
That would.
It does.
The state's attorney just made mention that because we have an ARPA funds committee, it may be appropriate to flow through that committee. I don't know that that will change anything, because ultimately, I mean, in the long run, I don't think it'll change anything, because this commission has final budgeting authority on that, so.
Well, and I think it's reasonable to say if we wanna put a dollar figure on it, that's fine, and then we can determine how we want to fund that dollar figure off of our side of things. If we say we're gonna commit X amount of dollars, then we say, okay, whether it's ARPA, whether it's we do half ARPA and we do a portion of it like we did search and rescue, you know, we can determine on our side of things how we think we'd like to fund it and what the people of the county would think is palatable.
Ed's motion doesn't say
Yeah.
it's coming.
It's just, we're gonna commit up to that dollar figure and we'll figure out how we're gonna make it work.
Okay, so the finalized version of this motion, just to make sure that we've got it right, is Ramsey County is committed to funding this project up to $1 million, sources of funding and details to be determined as we move forward. Is that fair?
That's unreasonable.
Okay. Okay, so you're still good on seconding it, and we're, okay, further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Anything else?
We'll come up with a fundraising plan.
Thank you, Megan and Lindsay, for being on the call also.
Yes, thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that the Fair Board would like to discuss?
No.
I'm not sure if we have another $1 million later.
Probably not.
Okay, well, thank you all so much for stopping in. And,
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And Mr. Root, are you ready to go?
Yeah, I'm all set. I don't need $1 million. I'm fine. I can use it, but I'm not gonna ask for it. I got three things on the agenda for you guys today. The first one, of course, is our little special EMS response unit that we have discussed before. Got a nice little cute picture in the back for you guys. It's been approved by Altru as well, and we placed an order for it. We should have it in 10 to 12 months. So we got half the price for Ramsey County was $31,386.50. Did you get a? You didn't get a.
I got it.
You got a black and white?
There's colored one?
Yeah, I have a color code for it.
You want that?
Oh, I gave you guys a couple of them. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys had it. So that was, we had discussed it before, half of what Altru was going to raise. So Altru was going to give us a check for $31,386. We raised $11,000, and you guys had said you would help with that. So here to present the project to you and see if you can continue your support, like you had mentioned before.
So this mini ambulance
This is a mini ambulance.
is more like for the town stuff, or?
It's for the whole counties, for everything. Towns can be for football games. So we don't
Okay.
drive on the track
Okay.
because they
Got
get mad when we drive on the field.
Yes.
Search and rescue events. Anytime we go on the ice, our ambulances are way too heavy to go on the ice, so we'll use this for the ice.
It'd be really useful for them.
Yep, and then with White Horse Hill, any type of accidents out on the reservation. Anytime we go to Farmer's Field. We've had problems before where we've had no vehicle. We throw them in the back of a truck and we drive. So this is actually an ambulance.
So is the box itself, is that long enough for a full-size stretcher?
It's full-size stretcher and I can fit 2 of my medics in the back plus the patient, plus all of our equipment.
So basically what's the downsize is the vehicle, but the ambulance box is roughly the same.
Yes, it is. So it's just a little bit smaller for cabinets, but we don't need cabinets, we got bays. So we use the bays for all the stuff that we need.
It's just quite a bit lighter.
It's quite a bit lighter, yeah, and it's got a better tilt, so I can take it more places. Any other questions on that one?
You can have your old style pictures.
Oh, yeah, I still have it in my office.
So this is driven to the event, it's not hauled, right?
It's driven, because it goes 60 miles an hour. So we don't go much faster now with our regular rates anyways, they're too heavy, which is top heavy. This is not top heavy, but 60s is top.
You're gonna have a trailer all around?
Nope, we're gonna drive.
50 miles?
We're gonna drive for 60 miles an hour.
No problem.
Yep.
Tires don't look very big.
That's what I'm looking at.
We actually got special tires on there, so if you, on the list on the AS app, I hate saying that, is what the company is called. You can see that we got the top of the line tires, those are not the tires. That's just the lettering on the simulator.
Okay.
Make it look cute.
What's that?
Make it look cute.
Well, it's gonna pack really nicely.
Looks good.
27-inch tires.
It doesn't look like that in the picture, no.
Yeah, no, the picture's a lot smaller. So we added quite a bit to what the picture shows, so, including a wedge.
So you've gotten community donations for this, match from Altru.
31,000, yeah.
one of the concerns, Sean, is utilizing taxpayer funds for a for-profit type of entity like Ridgeline Ambulance.
We're not-profit.
You're not-profit?
We're not-profit, 501c3.
Yep.
Well, then what the heck? Well, I think it's you know, there's a lot of beneficial uses for it. You know, the football fields, on ice activities that we have. You know, rodeo, for instance. You know, we're planning rodeo this fall. You know, if we get this 4-H building up and operational, we plan on having additional events in there that this could be utilized at and other activities.
I think like, this is what they would bring out to the fire department's thing, right? And then they put the kids thing out there instead of bringing the full-size ambulances.
Right, well, we'll still have the ambulance.
On the road, granted,
Yeah,
but this would be what gets them off the ice.
And small detail about the special response unit is I don't have to have paramedics in the back. I can use EMTs because of the shortage right now. I can just have EMTs go and respond to it, so it's a lot easier for me to staff the whole thing with EMTs for special events.
Whereas if you take the ambulance, you have to have.
I have to have paramedics.
We'll have to know where they're there. So what kind of money are you looking for?
$31,860.50.
And that's pretty much in line with what we had discussed previously.
Yes, I think it was a little less actually. I think we said 36,000.
Does, like, search and rescue, I'm sure you visited with them, they don't have any grant funding options for something like this because it's an ambulance versus a rescue unit, I suppose?
Rescue.
That's kind of what.
And we're going with search and rescue on this one.
Yeah.
What kind of money do you have from the fund?
In the regular COVID money, you mean?
In the regular COVID?
I think that's where we take it from.
I think that's reasonable.
I'll make the motion that we, cost share the $31,000 and whatever the figure is. Change.
$31,386.50.
Yes. And we take it from the previous COVID funds that we have remaining, maybe, on the first round of COVID funding.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Is this one a roll call?
Yes, please.
Okay, roll call.
Brown,
Aye.
Frith,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Lightpon.
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye.
Thank you for that one.
And you,
I'll ask for more. So the Lake Region Training Center, we started gutting it out, started working on it. I did go for the Out of Bremer grant. They no longer will give any money to the first responders at all. They stopped that with the due process 12 to 18 months ago, so now they can get Out of Bremer. Did speak with USDA, Ramsey County gets 15% of all the funds, which are due in 30 days, but you have to have 3 bids. So the fair people have to get 2 more bids before they'd be able to apply for it this year, just to throw that out there. We do not qualify for the USDA grant, but we could qualify for a USDA loan at 2.86%. I talked to the city commission yesterday. We're going to use it for all law enforcement, the sheriff's department, search and rescue especially is going to be using it. City police department is going to be using it at the correctional facility. They can put the mats there to go into the dojo. This is where they're going to have the training. This is where our search and rescue will have the meetings and the training there. So it's a big training facility. It's the old ambulance building. We've completely demolished it. The ambulance service donated for about $250,000 is what we're asking for. It wasn't like that. But we've gutted it out. I've got 1 bid for it, and the bid for it is roughly around $80,000. I talked with the city yesterday, and they said they'd help us up to half of the cost to get the facility up and running again. Add to it, I've also talked to the Otterville company, and they're getting rid of the substation just to the north of that. And they have us on the first of the list to get the other property there, so we can have it for storage or for an impound lot or something for law enforcement. Currently, our drone program is stationed there, and that's where they're going to be basically based out of, have the computers and everything there. That's used for our SWAT team as well. So it's used for all of our law enforcement. Fire, not so much, but search and rescue, ourselves, and the sport counts. So So even with 4 counties, we only get 15%. But they denied us the 15%. So I'm asking for support either for going for a loan. One thing to add though is we did also just get okay to do non-travel game gambling. We're applying for the license and I have a site already. So we're looking to use that to basically become self-sufficient over the years. We have 4 counties, so we're gonna go for all 4 counties to try to get sites.
Try to get sites.
Try to get sites. I got 1 already, and then I gotta try to get some other ones.
And you're not in that business right now?
We're not, we have 1 site possibly, that's pretty sure. And then we're gonna start going around looking for other sites.
Be careful.
I know. This one has never had it
Get your
before.
checkbook out.
Yeah,
Very expensive.
yep.
There's gonna be more regulations coming down from the state too.
And that's the portion.
July 1.
Maybe we should look into it.
Putting in 4 roving checkers going around the state.
So you're looking for a commitment for up to $40,000 for this training
For the
facility?
trash facility, yeah. Or maybe if you guys think we should go for the loan, USDA loan, 54.8%, 86%, and see if we can get self-sufficient, start paying it.
I'll try that first.
I've needed your approval before, basically, like I said, for support. That really helps them out to say that we have support from both county and city, and then we can go for the loan.
For this training center.
For the training center, yeah.
And that's multi-jurisdictional,
It's 4 counties,
sheriff, search and rescue, all that kind of good
city
stuff.
fire, rural fire,
So that's gonna bring,
SWAT team, drone team. For training, yeah, we also talked about having a membership earlier, it's gonna be in there, pay so much to be in there, especially for the training that's coming in there.
so it's gonna create,
It's gonna create income. Not as much as the fairgrounds, but it'll create some income.
So do you just need a motion from this commission that we support the training center, or do you need it to state a dollar amount so then you have that as backing for the loan? You just need a motion
I
that,
just need a motion so that I can go ahead and look for that USDA loan, and then we can try to get more funding for that when the time comes. We need to get that up and going right now. So we had to completely redo the whole inside.
I'll make that motion that we support the training facility.
okay?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to support the training facility. Any further discussion?
One question, do you have support of the city?
City's just gonna give us the half.
Yeah. That makes you smart.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
Last thing, less pleasant, just got back from Petmore last night, we're talking about the closure. Move it a couple slides if you would, please. So I've been going with all of the different agencies that surround Edmore, EMS, Park River, Landing, Munich, and just the different distances away it's gonna happen. Right now, I can get Edmore to stay on. I'm going to state tonight actually. I'm going to be speaking to the state about let them have emergency operations so they can have emergency medical responders, not just EMTs, take calls.
You've got people that will do that?
They have a couple that can do that. I'm going to go up there and do an emergency class. I've got 4 people that are interested in becoming EMTs, but it's not going to work. We're putting a Band-Aid on something that's just going to continue to hemorrhage. So this is something that we're gonna have to look at for the future. I've talked about it before about tax districts. It's coming down to that we're gonna have to start paying for EMS. We pay to get our garbage removed. We're not paying for somebody to come take care of your family. There are mill levies that other agencies use. Ramsey County, we've never taken anything. Edmore is in Ramsey County. I was there last night. They have no computers. They're supposed to be on this ESO program we use for all of our documentation. They've got an old smoke-filled Apple green screen computer in the corner, and they don't know how to use it. I've got a list of things that would go out there and help them with. Once you try recruitment, I'm gonna go out there for training, it's gonna be emergency training to keep them alive. Luan, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask you, is there other people that want, if we get this up to date, will come in and help? You know, I would probably say the younger generation, but.
That was actually who decided that they were gonna volunteer, the farmers.
Farmers?
They're all farmers, and they can't do anything during harvest or anything like that. They're stuck. You're not gonna have them get off the combine to come down into town real quick, 20 miles away. So one thing that I would look at is the whole state is looking at, not just levies from the county, but tax money as well from sales tax. We're looking at license plate money, and we're looking at registration. We're looking at quite a few things from all the way up to the state level.
There's gotta be other areas in the state that are having this problem. I mean,
Rock Lake's about ready to close. I talked to Munich about ready to close.
you got any solutions there?
Hollow. I did go ahead and advance a couple of slides there. This just goes over the distance when we were talking about how far we are. Here's where we are right now. So Ramsey County, you can see that Lake Region Ambulance Service pretty much covers all of Ramsey County, except for a few little slivers. I did take Lake Alice away from Towner County, because we're basically, we can be there a lot quicker, and it's in Ramsey County, and I'm kind of selfish, I want Ramsey County. So I didn't want Towner to have anything. And then right on the top there, we're taking that little sliver that they, for some reason, there was a farmer that didn't like Devil's Lake or Munich. So they gave him a sliver that went to Towner County, so we took that away. Don't really have a choice in the matter. That's very confusing with this map of where we are. Go to the next one, please. Here's the proposed one. With Edmore being in the shaded red area, then them closing, this is where all the EMS are coming from. Munich, like I said, is about ready to close. I'm gonna help them on, like I'm gonna be helping out Edmore as well. I helped out Dakota last summer, and they just hired the first EMT. And they're gonna have a paid volunteer service. Michigan went with Macville and became a paid volunteer service. Langdon is a paid volunteer service at this time. Walhalla is about ready to close. What we're looking at doing is trying to get these guys trained as fast as possible, and then trying to get a paid volunteer service. Looking at those areas by 2025, where they're gonna try to make it a law that you have to have so many miles before you can have an ambulance or a quick response unit. So you can see by that map that there's far too big of an area for any of these other agencies to cover.
Young people don't wanna step up and be EMTs?
No, the training is just astronomical. 220 hours just to get your certification, then you have to have some continuing education hours every year. I'll give you an example myself. I have about 720 hours every year of continuing education just to keep my license up.
Well, that and to have all of the proper equipment and everything is extremely expensive and getting more expensive all the time.
Yeah.
So do you-
sorry.
Oh, no, I just,
And grant right.
Right.
do you have a sense for, say, in that northeastern portion that's now going to be Lake Region Ambulance Service, do you have any sense for what your response time is?
45 minutes.
45 minutes. God, like,
Well, we're 40 miles to Edmore, so by the time a call comes in, by the time you get the rig on the road, you get out of town and you get rolling, yeah, it's gonna be 45 minutes to an hour before, and it's out on a farm someplace, out on site, it's gonna be an hour.
Edmore goes to Landon.
It's way too long.
there are not many reasons to call an ambulance where you've got an hour wait for them to get there and an hour wait for them to get you back.
Well, isn't there, I sat in on the EMT thing down at the Association of Counties a year or two ago, and they said, you said the standard's gonna come in, it's supposed to be so many minutes out or less, correct? What's the minutes again? 25, that's right. Okay, so that's what you're shooting for, is a 25-minute or less response on everything, and
We're double that.
half or 3/4 of the state's gonna be double that, not population-wise, but, you know, any place in the northeast corner of the state's gonna be, I mean, like you said, like in this map you have on projection, Dakota ambulance is gonna go to, actually to the city of Edmore. Well, that's still
If you look at the little gray little notch, then we gave that to Landon because we're
Yeah.
closer.
Oh, okay, well, that's still 27 miles from Langdon to Edmore, so I mean, you're still talking half hour to 40 minutes, I'm sure, at least, by the time you get there, you get moved. I mean, it's, I don't know what the solution is, because our whole northeast corner of the state is just less and less people and less and less people, and people have to step up, and like you said, it's just unbelievably difficult to stay trained. It's a huge commitment.
I told them where that I go out there, help them with their computer program and try to get them a computer so they can use it. They haven't received a payment for one ambulance trip in 3 years because they don't know how to properly bill. They've had their bills set at the same rate for I don't know how many years, so I'm helping with that, try to get some income for that. 25 calls a year is not enough to support an ambulance. It's not enough to buy an ambulance.
Well-
For those 4 years.
You gotta be commended for going out and servicing people, not getting them billed at this. Maybe the county will have to look into helping somehow, I don't know.
Yeah.
The ambulance service is willing to help them with that. We spend a lot of time billing, and we know a lot of the ICD-10 codes and all the Medicare terminology and all the Q codes that go with billing.
Right.
They don't, we're willing to do that.
Well, yeah.
They're part of Ramsey County, we're a community
Right.
service.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Ramsey County will.
Well, it's quite a ways east and north, Edmore, Ramsey County.
Like you said, 25 calls a year isn't enough to pay for an ambulance, but it sure as hell is a lot of calls that might be a lot of calls that save 20 lives, or 25 lives. I mean, that's important to the people that live in that part of the county. I mean, it's just no way around it.
Yeah, it was about the same.
25 doesn't sound like a lot until it's your family.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's
well,
sad.
and I have personal experience with this. My father-in-law got picked up by the Edmore ambulance when he hit a deer on his motorcycle. He wouldn't be here without the Edmore ambulance. I mean, it's a necessary thing to have.
So do you need any action on this, or are you just sort of informing us?
I'm informing and asking for help. I'm talking to, I'm gonna have to leave here shortly, I'm talking to Representative Armstrong at 10 o'clock, talking to Senator Kramer at 2 o'clock. Senator Holman is in Bismarck, so I can't talk to him. But I'm going out to Bismarck this week to talk to the state as well. I've got the money for training, I've got the money for continuing education. I'm not only gonna have the classes, I'm gonna have to get paid, the classes are paid for at this one too.
I'd have to just sit on the Capitol door every day.
Well, that's kind of what we're gonna have to do. So no, we're talking to them today. What I'd like to help with is that we might have to start asking for mill levies. Most other counties have gone for it, we will have that, we know it has to go to the ballot, but we may have to start asking for mill levies. Just to make them paid volunteer services.
One of the things that we should look at, let it be a grassroots thing, let it come from the townships. You know, and that's how you can put the mills on, is when you just talk, you know, from the county to the townships. And let them come with the idea. We should have brought it, well, we did bring it up at the township meeting the other night, but because we didn't have a lot of answers like we got now, I told you.
Right.
But that's where it should come from, is the people within the township, you know, where nobody's forcing them to live out there, but if they want this service, then they have to pay for something. I'm not saying all of it, some of it.
There's areas of our county that don't they're not in a fire district. So they don't even know for a rural fire department.
Right.
So, but yeah, you're right, it should come from a township grassroots type of, I think they're the ones that are living out there and governing the place and.
They're the one that have the most government power within that township,
Yeah.
office.
You know, and this is something that probably won't easily wait for 2 years, you know, if this money is so needed. So I'd say get started on it soon if you want it on the general election ballot.
Yeah, I went last night and came today. I know that I would have some questions for you, so looking for some knowledge.
Just out of curiosity, what does it cost on a yearly basis to run, like you said, a volunteer?
Next, explain.
So you called it a
Keep going.
staffed volunteer or something like that? I'm sorry, I got your terminology
Yeah.
wrong, but cost of the stuff, there you go, look at that.
So this is if we put up a substation between Munich and Edmore, it's not gonna work. Plain and simple, that won't work because it's still 20 miles from every place.
So 20 miles.
Yeah, we're over 20 miles from all these places, so it's not gonna work, especially with the other ambulances and the quick response units shutting down. Munich and Edmore are the ones that have to stay with them.
Yeah, so something like you said, Michigan went to that, and they teamed up with Macville, yeah, what is it costing them additionally every year to run compared to what it did cost them? That's the dollar figure on. So we're talking $400,000 basically for salaries.
Yep.
Over the top of what it would have cost previously.
But that is 24 hours a day. You could cut that number in half if they did half paid, half volunteer, which is what most people are doing.
So
this is what it would cost to have 2 people on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So basically, we're talking, basically every station like at Edmore we want to keep open, we're gonna have to mill levy for $250,000 or something in that range to keep it open. Okay, well, that's,
Well, with the Association of Counties, this was a statewide issue, you know, and that we were trying to make it a legislative, like, where legislatures would help the state out somehow.
how many rural volunteer EMS services are there in the state?
286.
286, so $250,000 on each of those to keep them, if you wanted to do a statewide type of funding structure, at least a portion of it.
In 2025, I'm gonna advocacy for the state for this. So, yeah, we're looking at 2025 being the end date for everything, and it's taken into consideration a lot of different things.
My math isn't that crisp, so. $71.5 million would take to fund everybody at $250,000 on those 2 years. A year. It's one of those deals where we've just come to expect the service because we've had it for so long that and we haven't paid for it because it's kind of self-billed, or we've had volunteers and we're running out of volunteers. All of a sudden the bill's gonna come due and we're gonna figure out how to pay for
That's
it.
what Edmore said too. Everybody was just knew that this was gonna be here, so they didn't help.
Well, yeah, I mean, and towns like Edmore, I mean, they've lost population like crazy, and, you know, you can only go back to the rock so many times to try to get water out of it. You got a full fire department, and they're all helping out on all kinds of boards, and, you know, how much more can you ask of them? You try, but it's tough.
Anything else, stuff.
Well, and the thing is I think people have to look at it from a holistic structure too. It's not just the people that live in Edmore that are gonna pay for this. It's if you're driving down that stretch of highway and something happens, they're the response unit. So it could be anybody that lives in this area or just somebody that's passing through that might need that ambulance service.
Just want to keep you guys informed with that one. I know that one was pleasant, but we're gonna keep working on it. I'm gonna try to get as much as I can from the state, and we're gonna try to help them. As of now, they're gonna stay open, and we're gonna try our best to keep them going. So we'll be up there for the next couple of months trying to get some interviews.
We sure appreciate
Yeah,
your
we appreciate
effort.
that so much.
Well, thank you guys for all the support and continued support. So I hate to.
Yeah.
I hate to
You've
go
got
back to.
important people to talk to.
Yeah,
Thank you for your
well,
time.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, I was saying, yeah, we're back to the point.
Thank you. Okay, next is Kevin.
All right. Okay, first of all, just to bring you up to date on the weight limits, they're in effect south of US 2, but they have not gone into effect north of US 2. I think they're talking about first part of next week. I don't know if it lasts that long, but that's when they're anticipating, the state's anticipating they'll go into effect.
Tell them the longer the better.
Right. The water's really starting to get on the road.
We'll try to get done.
We'll see.
These next 3 days are pretty crazy.
Okay, the results for the quotes for the compact track loader. I sent you guys all a copy of the results of the bids. Jeff had shot me an email, curious as to why we didn't get an estimate from Leading Edge. And to be quite honest, I didn't even know they sold them, but I did ask them for a bid yesterday. I don't know if you guys want to accept it or not, but they did shoot me a bid. They went to Sourcewell to get their bid. Well, it wasn't from their actual vendors or
Maybe John Deere? No?
It's a John Deere, yeah.
They got it from where, did you say?
Sourcewell? Sourcewell is a company that takes bids from everything from staples to bulldozers, and then they offer their bidding process, to all government agencies to, across the whole United States.
It's like a bidding clearinghouse almost.
Yep, exactly.
Would they come in at?
Their bid was $64,549.48. You actually have to have a government account to get a contract with them. They were using our government account.
And it had everything that you were requesting?
Yep. Warranty, the only thing is the delivery date was way off because you're competing with multiple people to try and get a unit. I think they told me October for delivery.
So if you were to go with that, then you gotta rent a machine for the summer, so now you gotta take that into factor too.
Right.
So then you're back up to that 70,000 mark.
You want to use it in June, is that right, Cal?
What's that?
You, the loader or the skid steer?
Yep, we'll have to rent one the first part of June, first or second week of June. To do our soft spots,
If we went with the higher bid, would it be available on time when you wouldn't need to then also rent one?
correct, Caterpillar can get theirs here in the middle of May,
What do we foresee the rental cost being?
about $3,200 last year. Dustin is with RDO and
Just kind of came to see everything and talking about that source, well, it's kind of like the state bid, just another deal to help governmental agencies, basically. I know a lot of people are signed up for it, and like Kevin said, helps you basically from Staples to Bulldozer, so. And it is free to sign up for as well.
we have an account there.
So,
What do you want your own source? Oh, okay.
So,
Which one you looking at? Which
Well,
one fits the bill?
Well, before original bids came in, I was looking at the cap, because they could get it here in the first part of May, or middle of May, excuse me. And then we wouldn't have to spend the 3,000 to rent something in June.
what's the cap price?
73,
626.28.
Sure, I don't have that in front of me. I looked at it when you sent out the email.
if you don't mind.
Yeah, well, I'll just look. Thank you, appreciate it.
The case is a little bit smaller machine, not, maybe only a couple hundred pounds, less than 200 pounds smaller, so it's not I mean, they just, that specs and everything,
But it's still an August delivery date, and you'd have to rent a machine.
Right.
So, the John Deere one that you just got the bid on was what now?
That's not on there. I just got it, so that was 64,549.48. And,
And that's for the same 325G?
yes,
So we'd still be saving money even if you did have to rent it.
Yeah.
Provided that rental costs aren't $8,000.
right, yes.
And that would be serviced by RDO then?
I don't honestly know the answer to that question either.
Well, leading edge would be able to service that.
They would.
They should be able to, if they're selling them, they should have the service for them as well, so.
So that bid is, it's through that Sourcewell, but it's a leading edge bid then?
Well, they submitted a bid, yes.
Okay. And, but then we wouldn't have it for the summer then?
No,
Okay. Where we rented from in the past, Caterpillar? Or, Ironhide?
yes.
Okay, thank you. Over here.
What do you want to do, Kevin?
I think we need to know on the service part, because I'm not in 100% agreement on the service part with leading edge. and only because a lot of times they'll send us out to RDO, because they'll be like, we don't do excavators, we don't do this, we need to know that.
Yeah,
Because I don't want Kevin to be tied up,
I
it's
think
broke
that's,
down.
I think that's reasonable.
I'm pretty sure you're right about that, because we can't even get belts for our, fan belts for our payloader from them.
No, we always get sent to RDO.
And Dale
Dale did the,
does
yeah,
all the
so,
servicing right in town here too, so.
Well, I mean, even if leading edge doesn't service it, we still got RDO in town here to
Yep.
service it, so I mean,
Just so that there's something for him, so you're not all of a sudden having to drive the Grand Forks because we can't get something simple.
And yeah, that's one nice thing about having Dale here is you don't
Right.
have to get sent to Forks, you can just go, right next to Butler, so.
so if we buy something like that, is it a warranty servicing is only done by the company you buy it from?
oh, well,
Yes.
yeah, that's
Well,
what it's supposed to be, they can farm it to someone else, I suppose, but.
John Deere would be John Deere, so we'd be able to do the warranty work as well as leading edge, so yes, you can't take John Deere to a Caterpillar.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just wondering if they, if we bought it through leading edge, they were the only thing that could service, or if they could
We'd
farm
be
it
able
or
to as well.
One thing I will mention about Sourcewell though is, there's a couple of our surrounding counties that have purchased through Sourcewell before, and their state auditor wrote them up for using Sourcewell. Because the state of North Dakota doesn't consider them competitive bidders, maybe you don't know about that than me, but.
Well, I guess that answers that question.
I've
Well-
never heard of it, I guess.
I'm wondering, maybe our state's attorney can ask.
Oh, shake
Well-
his head, I don't wanna part of it.
Kevin sent out these, requests for, bids.
Had a deadline on
We had a deadline of April 1st.
them yesterday, I just asked leading edge.
Yeah, but they didn't have a chance to bid on the first
Right.
go around, because they weren't part of it, if they had got the letter and then didn't get it until the
Right.
3rd of April or something, that'd be different.
I'm not in a position to answer that right now. I haven't seen the letter, I don't know the facts, so I don't wanna make an assumption.
You were a good attorney.
Well, I guess if the truth be known that, any other bidder could challenge it because it didn't meet the deadline of being in. I mean, that's my opinion of not being a lawyer, but.
And then the case bid, that comes back to the service question. Would only Titan be able to service it?
I did ask them that, and they said that they would service it. Currently, they don't have anybody that's certified, but if this deal goes through, of course, they would get people certified. So there may be an instance where it would have to be shipped to Fargo, but right now, they don't anticipate it. That's what they told me. They would get somebody certified.
Well, so all the bids that, except for Caterpillar, which is higher, you wouldn't have it in time, you'd still have to rent something for the summer, correct?
Right.
Except ARPA.
Right, but because that came in after, maybe the right thing to do is to accept that we're gonna have to rent one for the summer and just restart the bid process. Is that reasonable?
Yeah,
Do we know have any figures on renting?
He said $3,200.
3,200
Last year.
last year.
I think,
And that'll probably go up a little bit, not a lot, but probably a little bit.
so with that, if we were to go out and rent, like you were saying, I think, Kevin, if we go out and get bids, we have to know all the criteria on how this thing is gonna be serviced, how it's gonna be warranted, because I don't wanna get into a bind where now all of a sudden, we can't get it warranted, or it would be warranted, but are we gonna have a whole bunch of downtime and then we have to go out and rent the machine anyway?
I think if I go through the rebid process again, they need to be bonded this time.
So that, right, so you have all the explanations, so that you're not sitting here trying to tell us something.
Well, yeah, it needs to be apples to apples, because we don't know exactly on the bid process it was. I think that's a reasonable thing. I'll make a motion that we don't accept any of the bids and we allow Kevin to rebid for the,
I'll second that.
oh, we say it correctly.
I'll second that motion, but I got one small question. Do we use this skid steer much through the year? Like after June, do we use it much?
The wheel one we have now doesn't get maybe 100 hours on it, so it's not a lot, but this is a track unit, so we would use it out on our culvert works, because I don't know if you ever run it, but a track unit doesn't do that hopping, and it's much easier to use when you're leveling dirt.
That's fine. Yeah, I second.
That's probably the biggest reason we don't take the wheel one out there, because by the time we're done.
Out all over the place.
Then you're fixing it anyway.
A lot better flotation as well,
Right.
especially when you're in muddy
Yeah,
conditions. But
like, for instance, Greg Close uses one for packing culverts, and he meets compaction standards with just the track unit.
Really?
So that tells you that they do a good job of packing, just driving up and down.
Okay, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor of rebidding signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
And to be quite honest, fellas, that's what I was hoping to happen.
Well, now you can get apples to apples on everything.
Get the
Make sure we got the
clarification.
clarification on
I mean,
it.
that way you're not sitting here saying, yeah, we can, we can't.
We've been renting one forever, so it's, what's $3,200 for that one?
yeah, as RDO, I know that we'd be able to work on
Yeah.
basically anything John Deere, so, any other questions or anything, that's kind
Just
of.
don't wanna put someone in the bind and then.
Yo,
This will create a little less work for Paul also.
And that could be the other question is to find out, would we get in trouble using that?
Right. Personally, I think we would, but you'll get heard that argument both ways, I'll tell you that right now.
What was it called again?
Source
well?
Maybe that's something we can research and find out.
I think it might be appropriate for Candy to do that if Josh Gelling, the state auditor, is looking into these people. That sounds like an auditor question.
That's reasonable.
Perfect. Okay, anything else, Kevin?
Not on that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay, the next is all the bids that we took for, graveling, chip seal, hot mix, and roll oil. These were advertised in the paper, so everybody had the opportunity, and these are good to go over. We just had on most of our gravel jobs, we just had the two bidders. One project had three, but you can see the results there. How it did.
You said we could go with the lowest bid on all of them?
I know, yes.
So.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low bid across the board. Any further discussion?
Is this for all projects listed,
Or we just doing gravel?
or we're just doing gravel?
All.
Is it gravel, chip seal?
You're all right with all of them?
Let's see, hot mix, we
I
should
think we
probably,
usually do them separate.
That's all right? I'll do it, gravel.
Let's do the gravel.
Okay, so low bid across the board for graveling.
Second.
So make sure we're doing it legally.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting the low bid signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. On to chip seal.
chip seal, Morse Seal Coat has gotten our projects for the last 10, maybe 15 years, and we're extremely happy with the work they do, so
I'll make a motion, we go with more seal coat on the chip seal project with a little bit.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low bid. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
hot mix overlays, we did just have the one bidder, Strata Corporation, and last year, just for information, our bid was $95 for asphalt applied and $78 at the plant, so that just tells you how much oil, everything's gone up. But I would suggest that we, accept their bid also.
So,
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the single bid we received from Strata. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
And the last one is our road oil. And Candy, just for information, that Calumet Superior has changed their name to Husky Energy. And we've had their bid for, I mean, we're happy with the service they give us too, so I would suggest we accept their low bids also.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low bid for road oil. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
Alright, any other questions on supplies and projects? Okay, moving on, we got the invoice from Butler for the 3 new motor graders for $777,860.01. And along with that, we have the invoice for oil, filters, and some parts for servicing the 3 other motor graders for $8,992.44. So, motion to pay those two.
So moved.
Would you just repeat the full cost one more time of the 700? Oh, I got it here, never mind, 777.
777, 860,
Okay, and so your motion is to cover both of those costs?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Do we have a second?
Yep.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, roll call then.
Frith,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye.
Alright, we had some broken glass, one window on a payloader and 2 motor graders, one back window and a couple doors. And Thompson's did those, and for all 3 of them, the bill did get over $2,500, so now the bill is $2,810.45 for all 3 units.
Move to pay.
Was that, submitted to insurance?
No,
What's our deductible on that anyway?
I think it's $100, which we're still not too late to do that.
So is that something we probably wanna do, or why would someone pay it for?
It's just.
It's not like we use it every day. Is it something that we should be submitting to the insurance? Probably. If it's $100 deductible.
Yeah, I believe it's $100.
Should we check in on that, or?
Yeah, maybe. I'm pretty sure it's $100.
Well, even if you'd still pay it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
We
we
still
still
have
pay
to
it.
It's
Still-
still there.
Yeah.
Oh, your
And then we
question
get
on
the
the
money
rate
back.
increase, I think you can have 3 claims before then you gotta go after a rate increase.
This is the first.
We've done 2 claims already with,
Oh, well, okay.
There's sidestep this one, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so does the motion
Oh,
stand to just pay it?
regardless, we gotta get them paid.
Just pay it.
This
Okay,
is-
so we have a
Yeah.
motion and a second to just pay the 2,800. Roll call, please.
Volk,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Frith,
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye.
and also the invoice from the DOT for the bridge inspections that they did last fall. Our 19.07 share is $3,555. And along with that, they sent a piece of paper saying that we did not use federal funds to pay for federal funds, so we need to prove where we got, or not show, we need to show where we got that from, and then have the chairman and the auditor sign that statement, so I think that can all be in one motion.
I'll move to approve payment as well as having signatures to say we took it from someplace that's not federal funding.
Slush fund.
Second.
I have a question, just out of curiosity, why 19.07%?
You know, it's been like that since I started working here,
I mean, why isn't it an 80-20
Yeah,
year?
it's one of
Who came up with 19.07? I mean,
they honestly say 80-20, every time you hear that in a conversation, it'll be 80-20, but when you get the invoice, it's
19. Okay, I just was curious when I saw the number, I thought, who the heck came up with that one?
Somebody get it cut, though.
Somebody's getting the .93 someplace.
Okay, did we get a motion and a second to approve that?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Then we need a roll call for that as well.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Frith,
Aye.
Volk,
Aye.
Brown,
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye.
And we had another, our main shop has got 2 of those overhead furnaces, and one of them has quit working now, so we got quotes to replace the one that quit from Clemens Route for $2,525, and from Lake Region Heating for $2,855. So this is just a motion to accept the low bid, if that's what you wanna do.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept the low bid. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
And it's that time of year where we're starting to get our summer maintenance contracts in, and there's a list there of all the ones that we do have in so far. So we need the chairman and the auditor to sign those contracts for summer maintenance.
Make a motion to have the chairman and the auditor sign the summer maintenance contracts as listed on the sheet.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried.
I have one more thing that, the new pickup that we have, well, Steve's probably in the same boat here, but the new pickup we had ordered has not been ordered yet. Jeremy called me just last week and said that I think we ordered it in November or something like that. And it still hasn't been.
Is there a reason why?
The reason he says is because they're not taking orders for fleet vehicles. So that's like Steve's probably in the same boat.
Seems like me better.
We're not gonna get.
Mine are getting made. They canceled everybody else's, but ours are getting made, so.
Hey,
So,
I just
question
checked
with
it
that,
last
we're
week.
not gonna pay more because,
Well, that was my question. And so his thought is he wants to run it through as a private individual. I don't know,
No,
use my name.
no,
No.
Okay,
Can't
that's
do
a
that.
good answer. But he did say that, with doing that will probably raise the price, so.
Tell him to put his name on it.
yeah, if they want.
I'll just tell him no.
What type of vehicle is this again?
This is a Chevy.
Chevy?
Chevy 3/4 ton, 4
So if we made it LTZ or something, then we'd get her made, but, or the high country or whatever.
It was something to do with the fleet.
Yeah, well, it's because they've only got so many chips or whatever, and they're putting them in the vehicles where they got the highest profit margin, plain and simple. So they're making the real fancy stuff, and, cause they've got orders on those too, cause they're 6 or 8 months out.
I'll tell him to keep running it through as a fleet, otherwise we're not interested then.
It's just good business.
Like, otherwise, what could we end up getting charged?
Yeah, that's why I said, well, it's gonna be $50 more. He said, oh no, it's gonna be more than that. So I'm guessing, he didn't give me a number, but I'm
The
guessing.
frustrating part, didn't he not give us a quote on this?
Our old one's working all right?
What's that?
Our old one's working all right?
Yeah, what's happening is we're getting too many miles on our service pickup.
I have a question, Kevin.
Yes.
So we submitted it to Bergstrom Cars in November for them to order it. We did that and it hasn't been ordered or it's not being produced? Because
The people in Chicago, or wherever, have not put it on their assembly line yet as an order.
So it's been ordered through the local dealer, just,
Yeah, they turned their paperwork in, but the people out on the industry, they're out on where they make them.
Yeah.
They're not put it on the line yet.
from where I sit, it sounds like they owe us a truck then.
The only thing, you're probably right, the only thing is we get to wait for 2 years or whatever it is. But we are locked into that price.
okay,
Yeah.
that was mine.
That,
We're locked
that's
in.
where I was going with
Because
this.
we got a quote, otherwise we're gonna have to put this out back out to bid.
Well, and if we
It was
already,
ordered,
if we
so-
Yeah, if it's
ordered it,
ordered and we accepted a
I
quote,
think that's where
we
he's-
signed a contract saying we want a pickup, so I mean, yeah, it should be good for the dollars. I mean, we just might, like you said, we might have to wait 2 years unfortunately, but,
well, and if they wanna
But they-
dishonor it, that's a different thing.
well, that's the thing, we could turn around and rebid it and have to wait 2 years right now too.
Yeah, we don't know.
So, we're better being off in the queue in line and just waiting a while if we have to, I guess, and hopefully we gotta make some too. Yeah, good deal.
Crazy, kinda like World War II.
We wanna give you money, we wanna pick up, please give us one.
Let me ask it another way. You don't think they're trying to squirm on us, do you, Kevin?
No, because I heard that Butler had the same thing go on with the motor grader. It wasn't us, but because somebody ordered one in November, and for whatever reason, it never got put onto the line because
Because they want to.
fleet, it's a 32% discount on government orders, so they just don't run through because they got other people that'll buy them for full cost.
Full price.
They've been refusing lots of bids in the last 6 months. PE got an order to towel and they canceled it. Said, no, we're not ordering it, we're not making it, we're not doing nothing. And it's happened to the state fleet, got the same thing. They ordered 30 some towels and they canceled. You're not even on the list. So it's happening.
Well, it sounds like we're gonna have more maintenance costs then. But
Yeah,
we're not gonna have a choice.
Keep us apprised of where that's at, but I guess at this point, we'll just leave the order, it sounds like.
Sounds good, I'm fine with that.
Okay, anything else, Kevin?
That is it, thanks.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to the sheriff.
I kind of feel bad now, because first I'm asking for money, and everybody else is today too. But anyway, our server for our WatchGuard system is 11 years old. And we need to upgrade it and replace it because it is on its last leg according to our IT. So what we did was Chief Kanowski and I got together, we talked to the bid that you have in front of you. We're gonna split the server cost 50-50, since we're both utilizing it. And then we're also upgrading our body cameras, which are the old software. So our share of all of this is $23,458.50. And this is something we need to do. We haven't upgraded that since like 2011, I think, is when we bought it.
So, Steve, these annual fees that you have on here for the service,
What's
is
that?
that something that we were paying before?
No. Motorola bought WatchGuard, so now all of a sudden, I asked the exact same question to our sales rep, said, what's this fee we're paying? Well, that costs upgrades and, software upgrades, and we never paid it, no, they just added that once Motorola took over, so it's a new.
The only reason I asked is because you would, otherwise it would have been budgeted before, you know?
Exactly, but that's a new fee we've never paid before.
So it'll be something that's added into the budget
We'll
now,
have to
July
add that next
1st.
budget year for another $3,000 or whatever for yearly. So
So-
we've never paid that before.
So this is body cameras as well as the cameras that are in the vehicles then?
No, the cameras in the vehicles will meld in, or just be able to be brought in.
Okay.
So all we have to really change is the body camera.
But this is the server that keeps all the information
This is
off
the
of
stuff
the
that
cars
keeps
and the
all-
body cameras?
Everything gets all uploaded from the car into this server, and then we pull it off of there and transfer it to the courts, to the state's attorney, and whoever you want.
Oh, this is,
And it also does the car videos plus the body camera videos, and the new body cameras are going to know all this, but the new body cams will synchronize with the car cam, so you get both with the microphone on the same two systems, and it's above my head, but it's good, they tell me.
you have it in your budget, or this is?
No, I don't have this in my budget.
This is something that I'd recommend using that initial COVID
Yeah.
dollars from this.
I'll make a motion that we, allow the sheriff to spend $23,458.50 to, upgrade or order
The city approved theirs last,
the WatchGuard video quote
From COVID dollars?
from the the initial COVID dollars.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to allow the sheriff to spend $23,458. Any further discussion? Hearing none, is this a roll call, or is this a?
Yes.
Okay, we'll do it as a roll call.
Right?
Tripp,
Aye.
It's a roll call.
Volk,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Brown.
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye.
The city approved their half of this last night, so now we're gonna deal with order.
Good deal.
It's about a 4-month turnaround, I guess, we wanna kind of get going on it. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Steve, was there something else?
Well, there is, but we have a, I don't know what to call it, it's the base unit for our in-car video system, it's just the hardware. We don't have cameras, and it's a long story, and I'm not gonna get into it here. But we have an extra one. So I asked the guy yesterday for a quote for the cameras, the microphone, and all the gear we need to make it a fully functioning unit. So we have an extra unit for a third of the cost, I'm guessing. But he didn't give me the numbers yet, so I don't know what that's gonna cost, so I'll probably come back next time and see if we can do that.
Basically, if a system goes down, you can put that system in.
Or I can just put it in a spare car, we always have an extra car, they can just jump in and, you know,
Yeah, if we have a.
if we have, or we can swap them out, or, it's just, it's, you know, a brand new system's about $5,500. So I'm guessing we're gonna probably buy for probably half of that. Or we will hopefully less, but anyway, I'll bring that next time once I get the quote,
Sounds good, thank you.
if that's okay. Okay, that's all I had.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you. Sorry for making you sit
That's
through.
okay,
Appreciate you
learn
coming.
stuff.
Yep.
Okay, we'll move on to new business then. Review ballot language for expiring mill levies. Did everybody get a chance to read through the 3 county measures proposed wording?
So this is the one for the extension that is with you and you're
Yes.
okay with that one?
Yep.
Okay.
We kind of took theirs, took our.
Yeah, kind of melded together, okay, that's kind of when I was looking at it, well, there's good things on both of these.
Did you see these other ones as well?
I did, yes.
Yeah, and I worked with Kevin on those.
So, just a refresher for my mind, we have to ask for 2 different questions for the highway one?
There was 2 different,
So we have the possibility of 2 different mills, or 2 different funds
expired.
expiring.
Yes.
So we can use
Absolutely.
20 mills, not 10.
Right. We've never used all 20?
No, but there's always been the option in case we had some large road project or
Yeah.
something, so.
But the farm to market one, like how I explain it is, the state doesn't give you free meals, like, I know I shouldn't say free, but it's not part of the levy limitations. So if you wanna use that, you have to.
Ask for it.
Put some money in there.
Yeah.
But it's not a normal levy that everybody levies, but it's something in the
Right.
past that we have
Right.
asked for and we have the option in case of need be.
And it's, I mean, I don't remember the last time we.
Used it all? I don't either. I know I have, but it's been 20-some years.
Yeah.
It's good to have it in case you run into those problems.
During them flood years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that it was kept out, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just something that's there. If you
Well, we gotta go get match money, you know. When the flood started out, most of them were 10% match from the county. Geez, we're talking a lot of money.
Well, yeah, you were
$5 million
talking,
projects.
yeah, you were talking billions,
And,
millions of dollars you get over the water.
And the state coughed up and they started paying a lot of it, we had to come up with 3, wasn't it? Was it 3, and then it was down to less than 1.
Yeah, we lucked out on the Ramsey 10.
Yes.
The state gave us a bunch of money.
Yeah. And we're still paying for match money on bonds and stuff like that, on top of the fact that we turned a bunch of asphalt back to gravel because we just didn't have the option. You had to decide to chew it up. I guess I think it looks,
Yeah, I'd make a motion to go ahead and approve the language in the county measures,
I'll second.
All 3?
all 3.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the language in county measures 1, 2, and 3 for the June ballot.
Just one question, 4-H is all right with it, or not?
Yeah, yep, I worked together with Sarah and Lindsay,
They're good?
yep,
Okay.
because I worded it a different way and then they had it worded a different way and then we kind of met in the middle of,
Yeah, I think it looks good.
yeah.
And I think the important thing is to remind everybody that it's not an additional tax, it's just a continuation of,
So how do we get that out to the people?
Broadcast.
continue spreading the word.
There's
Spread the
some,
word, yeah.
there's a group that's working on how to get out the information.
Yeah, I think
or
we're
the
gonna-
extension.
Expansion should be on
Yeah.
weekly.
Because if you're a new person coming in voting on this, it looks like, it doesn't look like it.
Right.
Yes,
It looks like it's additional tax.
yeah.
That's my fear, you know, because if they're not educated on it, you're gonna come in and say no. Like, really, you know what I mean?
I think the extension advisory committee is meeting, I think, tomorrow, Thursday night.
Third,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they're gonna come up with a plan on how to get in front of different groups and how to get the word out that this is what this does and stuff.
That's huge, because
Get close to that time.
And then it's gonna be our job to just explain from the commission wise for the road one, that this isn't an expansion of it, it's just to keep the status quo and keep it the way it's been.
We brought it up at the township association meeting, so I mean, those type of events.
Yep.
They were quite accepted to it, I thought.
Yeah,
You know,
I think when they understand it's not a raising, it's just the end of that.
Yeah, you wanna keep the quality of roads we have now, or try to keep them, I mean, this is what we have to do, plain and simple.
Okay, well, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the county measures as described signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion is carried. Okay, we'll move on to approving payment for senior citizen funds.
It's just what we budgeted last July, correct?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, is this a roll call? We actually making the payment?
Yes.
Cut checks, roll call.
Yep. Cut checks, they've been called. Frick,
Aye.
Brown,
I,
Volk,
Aye.
Lightfon.
Aye.
Wakefield.
Aye. Okay, motion is carried. We'll move on to library board appointment. Did we have more than one letter?
No, I got an email from the library board director that they have appointed Daniel Howell.
Correct, I believe that's.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and so he would be the county appointee to refill the remainder of Sawyer's term, who resigns because he couldn't make meetings, it was really difficult for him.
She did ask if we could change the appointment date to like April 1st. To just start fresh.
he hasn't been on,
He hasn't, no.
just started back.
Yes, we had 2 more slots, they were able to find 2 people that wanted to sit, the city was going to appoint one of them, and then the county would appoint the other one. to
How many are on the library board?
I think we'll be at 7 now, we'll actually have a full board, first time since quite a while, I think we'll have a full 7. Which would be nice.
How many are on the foundation board?
3,
3? You're the chairman of that now?
I'm not on the foundation board, I'm just on the library board.
Who's on the foundation board?
I believe the president, vice president, and secretary treasurer of the library board. Am I correct in that? Heidi, I can never say her last name correctly. Vaniga, I can never say her last name correctly. The vice president would be, I believe it's Paulette Paulson. And, yes. And,
Also.
yep, and then the secretary treasurer is Jessica Fish.
And this new board member, his name is Stephen Hall?
Daniel
Daniel.
Howell.
Yes.
Hall. We need a motion to accept him.
Yep.
Appoint him, so moved. Second. Thank you for his willingness to serve.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the appointment of Daniel Howell. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Raffle permit.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the raffle permit. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Homestead credit abatements, we have 5 this time.
We got a lot of homestead credits. I'll make a motion to accept the
Second.
5.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve all 5 homestead credits. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Approval of the special permit.
That's the beer permit, correct?
Yeah, this was a last minute because apparently the person, the bar, the establishment that was supposed to do it backed out.
Oh.
So I signed it.
Okay, it's something we would have done anyway, it just was the last second.
Yeah.
They've been good to work with before, so never been an issue with.
Right.
I'll make a second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to approve a special permit. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion is carried. Visitors and delegations.
I don't need any money.
Alright,
Not till later this year.
It's the kind of day, maybe you should just, you know when to stop, right?
You're just getting in line?
You know, this year I might actually do a grant, but
Okay, that's music to our ears.
okay, we'll move on to portfolios. Commissioner Fred.
I really have, Steve has something?
I'm just gonna update the commission on a couple things that are going on there.
So,
The drug task force has had their hands full in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think they've seized over 5,000 fentanyl pills in the last 3 weeks.
oh,
That's a great thing.
But my question is, how much are we missing? So they're doing a phenomenal job, and I just want you guys, you don't hear about them a lot because we're still working, but I can tell, we'd like to tell you, just they are doing phenomenal right now, and getting a lot of them off the street that aren't going out, they're going for about $30 a pill, so we're talking, what, $150,000?
yeah.
For 5,000
$30
pills?
a pill.
$30 a pill, 30 to 50,
Any
depends on
idea?
the.
No, I'm just saying.
30 is the low end, I took the low bid on that one, so 30 to 50.
Hope the mills go through. No,
So there's a lot going on with that, and they're working hard on it, so. We've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000 pills got 4 people,
I don't know, people.
100,000 pills had 3 more, and then they've got a couple little ones with 2 here and there, so. It's kinda scary, to be honest with you, how much is out there, but they're getting them, so we're doing, I think, great work, and hopefully we're gonna get better, but, with that note, just so you guys know, we're gonna have to start moving prisoners again. Just talked to Rob the other day, we've been utilizing rugby, we have 8 in rugby, where rugby can't take anymore, so now we're gonna move back to Watford City. That's the next closest place that I can haul to, so when you start seeing bills from these other facilities, DLCR is supposed to be here the middle of April, just to do, I don't know what they're gonna do, but,
Next week?
next week or next 2 weeks maybe. They didn't say a date, they just said middle of April.
Rugby's taking 4 more as of this morning.
Huh?
Rugby's taking 4 more as of this morning's email.
Oh, okay.
That's good.
So we've been, we're really struggling to meet that 50. But things are improving in the jail. The new captain is, I think, got his hands full and he knows it and he's working on it. Things aren't changing overnight, but they are changing for the good. So it's just gonna take us a little bit. I don't think we can ask for another increase. I think it was 60 days from the day they put us back. So we're probably looking at next month. So the end of April, I'm guessing we could ask to go back up to maybe 60 or 65. And depending on how we're doing, it's a yes or no, but.
You know how the staffing is for the COs in the
I
back?
think they have 13 full-time right now, so we're short.
So we're still short,
But we have had some returns that have had worked there previously that came back. So that's a plus, we're getting a little experience back.
yeah.
But now we're changing bad habits that they accrued and we're changing them back to good habits, and that's the struggle.
Yeah.
What's our, just out of curiosity's sake, what's our turnover rate? Like year over year, say we have 15 COs, how many of them have long-term experience?
5 years ago, very little. We had 3, 4, 5-year experienced people, and we have a few of the younger ones, but now, I don't think we have a CO that's got more than a year on.
They hired a couple here that came back.
A couple of the ones that came back have a little bit more than that, but they just came back on here within the last month.
Yeah. But our turnover rate is pretty high,
Pretty high.
but it's tough work and.
Well, and it's some of the confusion that was, it's just,
I'm just saying, it's.
things are getting better because there was a little bit of chaos, or a little bit of controlled chaos kind of thing. And,
But the captain really made a difference.
Yeah, we were without leadership as far as supervisors. and they struggled with that highly, and that's kind of where the captains come in, and we've now got a specific, leadership role, and it's working well, but it's taking a little bit of time to get established and get things going, so. So it is progressing forward.
Good.
What are our numbers at?
As far as inmates, yesterday we were at 56,
And then we've got.
and I have to be at 50.
Yeah, so you gotta ship some out.
So that's why I said we gotta shift, we gotta start, okay. We usually wait till after court on Monday mornings and see if anybody lives up that tomorrow. And if they don't, then we just start making plans to get them out. Because every day we're over 50, we have to send a letter or a email to the DOCR saying we're over. And then they want us to know a plan how we're gonna get under. So we have to do that daily.
So they know that we're usually waiting for that Monday.
Well, yeah, they know weekends are a little tougher and then,
Well, yeah, it's gonna,
but we try to go into the weekend at like 45. So we have some room if they have a bad weekend.
Was there a time frame when they were gonna try to up that again?
60 days from the day we got moved back to 50, so we're looking at probably the end of April. And then it's on DOCR's heads of how we're doing, if we can handle it or not, so.
So how many do they usually up at a time?
I mean, as far as adding us,
Any
the last time we requested the 65, we were at 50. Our normal route, well, our max is 102. The best possible place is 80. 80 to 82 seems to be our break-even point. And that's kind of the goal we want to get back to, is about 80 for now. But, you know, with our inexperienced staff, that's why we're keeping us at the 50. So, but like I said, the new captain's working well. He's got a good attitude. And he's doing a lot of things, so hopefully he's gonna see a good turnaround here quickly.
That's good to hear.
He's doing well.
It leads me to ask the question, not of you, Sheriff, but of Jeff and Ed, since you sit on that board, since we're running 50 and our break even is 80, how are we gonna make up ends meet at the end of the year if we continue to run under 80 for the whole year? We're gonna be asked to pony up cash then, in other words.
That should be coming monthly in our bills, but I don't know.
Well, I know that our bills we're paying a daily rate, so the bills aren't gonna make it up other than we cost share at the beginning of the year, we're paying the monthly rate. If we come up with a budget deficit at the end of the year of $500,000 or something because we were planning on running an 80 rate, we're not.
You got $300,000 deficit, because you aren't paying up the daily
We're
rate.
gonna have to come up with some money at the end of the year.
The fortunate thing is that we were running in the black.
Yeah, previously.
We got some bills on it.
Yeah, we got some funds sitting there,
Yeah.
yes.
So we have some cushion money, but it can't continue to carry us through.
Yeah.
That's why we're pushing so hard to get back up to that 60,
Yeah.
65, get our numbers starting to come up so we can get back to that, where we're at least not negative anymore, you know, dollar-wise.
Hired help is just.
Well,
Our fate rests with the DOCR, it's all under their control.
Yeah.
We have no.
I know this, I'm just asking, you know, where we're running right now, I mean, we're only 3 months into the year, basically, out of the books, so, having a plan in place, but, yeah, I mean, hiring help I mean, look at it, we're having a job fair, I think, later this week, and there's 60 businesses or something. I mean, everybody's looking for help, so it's just a constant battle of trying to get people to work for him.
When they knocked us back to 50, this last time, we were at 7.5 employees. Which made sense, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, we've done a pretty good job then to get back to the
Exactly.
13 at least.
And then now we're back, you know, so that's when they bumped us back to 50, now we've added 5 more employees, since then, so hopefully we can
Yeah, that'd be good.
see some forward movement.
But we've used sheriff's deputies, we've used the city.
And we're still there if they need us, so we're still filling in if we have to.
Trying our best.
I still think the secret is to get them trained before we put them back there.
Tough to do. North
Impossible.
Dakota has never, the entire state does not train before they put you in jail. Other than your 2 or 3 days of orientation, and then here you go. Cass County doesn't do it, Grand Forks doesn't do it, Bismarck doesn't do it. There is no real.
That's just, I don't know, that's crazy to me.
It is to me.
They throw you with the current jailer and say, watch what he does and go.
That'd be like if we hired deputies and put them on the road without absolutely any training.
You tell people that, that's what I do now.
And then you fix the problem later.
There are a lot of counties that do that.
No, but they went to a certain amount of peace officer training, or
That
at
still
least,
doesn't mean they're ready to go.
I know they're not, but at least it's a baseline of something.
Yes.
The states went halfway in demanding that we have deputies trained, city patrol trained. Why don't we have COs trained before we put them in action? You know, they went halfway, maybe, you know, demanding that.
It's crazy to me,
And we get no help from schooling or,
it's nuts.
No,
not,
we're working on it. Yeah,
Could open up a
put a
can.
quarter in and see what happens. You get the spew out, but, okay, I'm sorry, I just wanted to give you a little update.
We all know where we're at.
Okay.
Commissioner Frith, you have anything else?
I have nothing else, you know, airport and chamber and all those other entities, that we sit on. And we'll meet later on this month, still pretty early, but, you know, everything's moving forward with the airport, still looking for,
See you later.
EAS bids for essential air carriers to, you know, that bid will be going out through the Federal Department of Transportation, and hopefully, we get some good competitive, bids coming in for our commercial carrier, so. But, like I said at the previous meeting, hopefully it's not Bob's cover jumpers or something like that, that we have a, you know, comparable commercial jet airliner that comes in and bids this service. And we prefer to stay with the Denver market. It's been working really well with us, and, you know, one of the requirements for essential air is 2 flights a day, up to 12 flights a week kind of thing, and so we're hoping that we get good, and partnering with Jamestown has worked really well in the past, and they're willing to continue with that relationship, so, you know, it'd be a doubles like Jamestown, Denver type of connection again, so.
Oh, yeah?
That's all I have.
Perfect. Commissioner Brown?
just senior meals, they're looking at changing their dishwasher. And we talked about this before. The original, they wanna do the flooring at the same time, so. They're good quotes, they had one quote was 19 on the dishwasher, new one, remember?
Yes.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
19,000.
They don't have it on the floor yet.
It's like 25 years old.
Oh,
You know,
It's washed.
put 20 on it,
Yeah, it's needed.
It's washed a
25.
lot of
It's
dishes.
original, it's original,
Okay.
so,
It's not.
that's all they ask for, is
We're lucky we got that.
absolutely, absolutely, good building. They do a good service, that's all I got.
Okay, Commissioner Lightfoot?
Let's see, for Devils Lake, we met last month. We have a, how many new board members do we have? 1 or 2 new board members, so that was nice to see.
Then I see that, you have your for Devils Lake executive, what is it,
The annual
annual meeting?
meeting is coming up. I forgot to write the date down. I appreciate you mentioning
I
that.
think
It's,
it's in the.
it's coming up here shortly. Yeah, I had the date written down someplace and I forgot to bring it. I apologize, but it's coming up here shortly. Oh, you got a letter.
The 13th of April. Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it was coming shortly. I just couldn't remember the date off the top. Jeff will find it for us. What a guy.
13th of April.
13th of April. I believe that's at 11:45 at the college, the lunchroom there. I believe Commissioner Gary, a commissioner is going to be coming up to speak. So we're going to talk about value-added agriculture type stuff, since we've had some pretty good progress in value-added agriculture stuff in our area with some of the stuff Orr has done, so.
The 13th of April.
13th April, yeah. So that'll be good. We're gonna have some turnover on that board, just because obviously we're gonna have a new individual from the city, since the mayor sits on that board from the city right now. Our new city administrator was at our last meeting, so I got to visit with him a little bit. You know, I'll be going off that board later this year, and then we also have Brett Foster, who is on that board, who will be going off because he actually accepted a different job up in Cabela County. So we're gonna have some new board members there, so it'll be different for that organization, but that'll be all right. New ideas aren't bad. North Central Housing, we're bringing in, some training for our staff, first week of May, so that'll be nice. We have a full staff again, so it'll be fantastic, working to get apartments turned over there so we can get, more people in those houses, in those apartments. Social services, we met last month. Pretty standard, child protection stuff has been busy as it always is. Always, as you can see, when stuff goes out, we're constantly hiring because it's always need somebody for staff, because it's always a constant churn. When you have a staff that large. We're hoping, in the next little while, we'll be able to go and do some site visits on our different locations to see, since, we've been wanting to do that since we went to a zone model and then COVID hit, and then it's been pretty much, can't go see anything, so we're hoping to go, because we always talk about, well, we're in this building, just have to kind of imagine it, because you've never been there before, so we're hoping to do some meetings at those different locations so we can see what we're working out of, but there's been some improvements in the Benson County office as well as up in Rolette County, so that's good. The redesign for the state, where they put together DHS and what's the other one, health, and put them under I can't remember what they're calling them now, but they put them together. So there's been some changing up top in terms of who reports to who, and so there's been, like anything, when you're changing who you're reporting to, different models, you're learning different people, and so there's been a little bit of learning there, but I think it's been going okay, according to Rhonda. Trying to think of what else. What else have I gone to? What else have I done? State's attorney, I haven't talked to both lately, so things must be busy.
Busy weekend.
Yeah.
Between the drugs and the chase and.
Yeah, I saw we had a couple, chasing down.
Want to give special commendation to the police officers involved in that. Resolved it without anybody being injured, whether officer or civilian. You did a good job. So.
Good.
Other than that, I don't have anything.
Okay. I saw we had a washout on County 10, got that fixed up, so that's good, good turnaround. It's that time of the year, everyone watch their roads because culverts are still froze up and water starts to move and then it finds its way around the culvert, and so anytime anybody driving gravel, pay attention. Never know when you could have a cave in.
Put a hole in the road there? No.
Yeah, pretty good sized one.
Big one.
Yeah.
Then we looked out, the water all went down, so there was no water in the hole when we got there, so we just filled it in.
Well, it's thick.
Yeah.
It's that time of the year though, you get that head pressure behind the culvert.
Yeah.
When they're froze up, boy, that all it takes is just a leak around the side and it's time to go, so. Everybody pay attention out in the countryside if you're driving on gravel, make sure there's nothing going on, could be on pavement too, but gravel's more likely. Extension, that's gonna be really well. They're gearing up for the June ballot, so. That's about all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Volk? We'll start off with lake access. They put out bids for the sewage cleanage of the fish stations to get rid of that. The cleaning and mowing contract was extended, so we're good there. The Fair Board, they obviously put on the presentation today. I'm pretty sure they're happy with that. Recorders, nothing. And then with the treasurer office, Lisa would like to, or she wants our opinion of bringing back Bremer for an update on everything. And I told her, yeah, that'd be great. Just get with them and put it in when it works with their schedule, so then we'll just put it on the agenda.
And I think when we set that up with Bremer, they agreed that they wanted to come in and give us an annual report, and it's about time for that.
Yeah, and that's what I told Lisa. I specifically myself would like a yearly update that way, especially now that we're new at it. Hey, this is where we were, this is where we moved, this is how it's working, especially with the economy, how it is. You know, with all the crazy stuff, it seems like it's making money for us. You look at the numbers, better than what we were doing just in the bank, that's for sure. And then, Fair Board, if you could, when the frost comes out, just look at the driveway and stuff out there. I was thinking, where that culvert, where you get that culvert in, if there'd be possibility to maybe put some like 1-inch rock in that ditch so it doesn't fill in.
because the grass never grew in there, if it would just be like a 1-inch rock, maybe just like a filter system. I don't, you can look at it. I was just a suggestion. Yeah, yeah, I don't wanna have it plug that culvert up where we put the rock, probably on the one side especially, would help with that.
Okay.
Something you can look at, I guess. I want the expertise of you guys to do
Is
that.
there a lot of gravel that needs to be?
Probably just be bladed, it's not, it's pretty good actually. Maybe on where the building is, in the parking lot there, maybe to the east of that, like a little gravel in there, kind of mucky, more of the clay coming through. But other than that, it looks really good. I'd say when the frost comes in, so we're not running all that. Other than that, that's all I have.
Perfect. Candy, the courthouse isn't on fire, is it?
Nope, it survived. It survived while I was gone.
Perfect. Excellent. Well, in that case, I don't think I have anything else to report.
Amazing.
Is there anything else for the good of the order? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We stand adjourned.
Aye.
Thank you all so much.
Oh,